good evening, good evening. Welcome to another night of the Meta News Business. I'm El Blanco, and we're going to do another business segment tonight. This time, I'm not going to be so hard on you about trying to keep up with what's going on with the pace of what other builders are doing, and not going to continue to stress so much about people starting a business because I think we've heard enough of that. But tonight, I'm just going to touch on some things that are going on in the world around us, not necessarily, major, but things that are still happening that may be of significance because once you hear about some of the things that you may have not heard that are taking place, it may redirect you back into certain areas or other projects that you have or that you may have had and put on ice. So I'm just gonna go over a few topics. I'm not even gonna go into detail, but there's a few topics out here that I remember that I had talked about in the past. So, the first topic tonight is we had spoke about how the countries, it's like a few countries that know the importance of having a super, a supercomputer like a quantum computer. And when it comes to superior, technology, that thing is it to have a quantum computer. Now, there's some quantum computers in the world, but these nation states, are really looking into putting money behind what they're doing. And before tonight, I was telling our viewers that United States had a measly $500 million going toward quantum computer technology that was coming from the government, and all other efforts were, through the universities. So I just saw this article. It said, there could be a passing by the House Science Committee. Saying they're looking at putting $3.6 billion into the National Quantum Initiative Act. So they're trying to throw $3.6 billion to put themselves back in the runnings of having having one of the top supercomputers out here. Because if you can if you know anything about the supercomputers, they're already projected to be able to have the ability to crack codes even in cryptology. So you gotta look at that. That's gonna be something significant. So that'll be part of a large scale um, cybersecurity. That'd be one major protection you have in cybersecurity by having a quantum computer. But for those who don't know the implications of what a quantum computer is, you can go look at that, and you can go look at the National Quantum Initiative Act online. Just do a search, and that proposal is going into Congress for $3.6 billion. Okay, and now for those who are interested in you know Bitcoin, um, Bitcoin has exceeded $42,000. Now it's on its way up now. The threshold, it dropped below 30,000, right? So people was getting kind of nervous because it dropped below 30,000. And you have to think about it. Bitcoin used to be a few cents, then it used to be a few $100s, but now it was moving so well. When it dropped past 30, it had people afraid. But you got to understand the trends and how the graph normally goes up, comes down, it goes up further, comes down, goes up further, then comes down. That's because you have a decentralized type, volatile, environment right now. You don't have things pegged like like the government want them to be. They want everything pegged to a dollar or pegged to some type of national currency. And Bitcoin itself is it's its own store. They call it a store of value, right? So now it's at 42,000, and I've been telling people they was not exaggerating when they said that Bitcoin will be $100,000 or more in the future, and that's coming. That's coming, and it's come. It won't be too long from now because once the government uh, is finished, finished setting their systems up, and once they have once they have, a lot of these particular, I would say, exchanges and projects, once they have these projects becoming centralized enough to allow the business enterprises to come with all this corporate funding, you can expect everything to go through the roof. So if you hold on to any type of crypto, hold on to it all. and be prepared to do something with it, whether you're going to be trading it or it's going to be trading as swaps, saying things like that for the purpose of doing other projects, or if it's serving, these coins, these tokens are just serving as utilities, they're going to go up in value. So hold on to them. The time is coming. Don't give up. Okay, now the ex CEO, um, what's his name? I think it was Changpeng Zhao, better known as CZ, was named specifically. The Department of Justice charged him with breaking U.S. sanctions and encouraging money laundering. So he stepped down from his position um, um, as a Binance, right? He was part of it said he was a part of the consequences of pleading guilty. He had to step down, and he's going to be liable for a $50 million fine, and Binance itself is going to have to pay a $4.3 billion fine. So this is something that took place with the Department of Justice. Uh, 9 times out of 10, in cahoots with the Security and Exchange, and in this particular instance, I think they said he was co-mingling the funds. So when you have private funds and you're co-mingling them with public funds, because if you got people purchasing and treating it like a security, so that'd be considered public. So however they found a loophole to get him, they finally got him, and so he's gonna agree. I guess he agreed in some form or fashion to be liable for 50 million himself. Okay, so now I've told people before in the past when we talked about Taiwan and China, you know, um, just like that Russia would not allow Ukraine to be right on its borders and then become a part of another coalition, a democratic coalition, which they say that the proponents of democracy is out here to stamp out everything and make everything democratized, right? So just like you wouldn't expect Russia to allow Ukraine to do that, um, China never intended for Taiwan to be so invested or be so democratized to the point that it leaves China's borders right up, their borders insecure too. But now they're looking at it for other reasons because it's technological advances or some of the biggest or the most high tech security chips are being produced in Taiwan, and even I submitted international documents to be able to do business in Taiwan in the future. Um, because I not only wanted to get on the Chinese monetary system because the yuan was going to become a world currency, and I knew that Taiwan was already, Taiwan was, it's a friendly country, and it's been westernized a lot. So, but this little piece I pulled out right here, I'm gonna read. It's I think I pulled 2 paragraphs of this just to give a little insight on what's going on and how China do intends to take back Taiwan and bring them back under back under the fold of China. All right. Taiwan has teetered in a precarious geopolitical position for decades. It's a self-governing democracy. It will elect its next president in January, but the Chinese Communist Party regards Taiwan as its own and seeks to unify the island with the People's Republic, and the party say it will do so by force if necessary. So for people who don't understand what's really going on with that, the United States have been giving them super technology to keep ships from coming in on shore, and they've been packing up a whole lot of warships and putting a lot of things, packing a lot of things, making a lot of preparation from Guam to be able to reach out as far as Taiwan to so-called, stop China, as if China don't have a real good reason to bring Taiwan back in. But these things have been happening for years. You know what I'm saying, for years, and that's why this article said Taiwan has teetered in a precarious geopolitical position for decades. Okay, so strategists consider a possible conflict, a geopolitical crisis, and an economic one. Taiwan accounts for 30% of the $574 billion in global semiconductor industry. which is the backbone of modern technology. At the heart of that industry is Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company, the most valuable company in Asia, whose $500 billion market cap puts it in the same league as Walmart. U.S. export controls on chip making equipment are squeezing out some of TSMC buyers, namely China. But the Taiwanese firm still produces roughly 92% of the world's most advanced chips. Okay, so the components power Apple phones, NVIDIA, AI servers, and F-35 fighter jets. And experts fret about what would happen to technology production if their foundries fell into Beijing's hands. So a blockade of the island alone would cost the global economy $2.1 trillion, according to markets. That's the longest stagnation of the M2 money supply since World War II. So basically, just saying it'd be a staggering trying to even protect Taiwan because they are blockading it already. Even though this article is not even saying how much they're putting into it, but you know, um, we never know. So with all the technology going on, the chips, and China needs the chips, and all these things they're doing with Cold War type tactics, you know, Taiwan more likely it's going to be taken, in my opinion. But these are the type of things that are taking place, around the world. Everybody's scrambling for the resources. That's why the BRICS is working with Africa. That's why a lot of the nations have already turned toward the BRICS. That's why everybody is kind of like rallying around China because China currency is slated for the next, world reserve amount, while the rest of the world, which is the Western world, we're moving forward and moving fast into the blockchain technology and all that. So they're trying to definitely make a conversion from the fiat dollar, reserve dollar that's not worth a dollar anymore, and moving to digital currencies that will be pegged against the dollar and backed by contracts and backed by bonds and backed by all kind of instruments again to give them the ability to start over in a sense and start over from a more advantageous point than being totally in debt to all these nations who's holding your worthless paper. So pretty much that's it. Those are the basics. Some basic things I want to talk about tonight. What's going on? Just give you some insight, and then next week I'll probably start back tying it back into why did I tell you that? What's important about knowing these things? But just know, look into it, and you'll learn a lot more just by personally looking into these things and get familiar going on. So once again, this is I'm El Blanco. This is Meta News, and you can watch us on Meta News for Horizon Worlds VR on the YouTube channel. That's Meta News for Horizon Worlds VR on the YouTube channel, and you can always contact Miss Rocks at Meta News on the Instagram page. To the new year, Meta News, we're gonna have a new name in the oncoming new year, and look out for that new name change. And you'll probably hear more about it as things move across Horizon, as changes are being made and we're moving forward. So stay tuned for our new name. We have a new name coming. And for right now, yes, we are Meta News. We're Horizon World's premier news source, and we're going to be hitting you with a new one. So stay tuned for that. Be on the lookout for it. As the new year starts, we will come with a whole new energy. We're gonna come with a whole new look. Miss Rock, she's gonna break out that trimester. So if you've been liking what you're seeing, get ready, cause I'm looking for the advertisement aspect of all of it. So look out for us with the new name coming soon. All right, thank you for tuning in again, and good night.